Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be talking through with you how my first tournament went of the 2025 season last week at Surrey National on the Clutch Pro Tour. It was good to get back out there. I felt really good within my game. Some of you may have seen already my results. I finished tied 10th. I shot -3 and level par. And I was, I think I was 9 shots off the leader in the end. It was a lot of really good positive stuff to take away from the week. And I just thought I'm going to kind of run you through some key moments in the round, some thoughts and sort of stuff like that to just share with you what I'm going to be doing this year in my tournaments. So last year, a lot of you may have seen that I've been doing sort of tournament blogs and writing about how the rounds went and breaking down some key details. And I'm going to be doing that this year, but YouTube version. So hopefully you enjoy this, and let me know in the comments if you have any special kind of requests and things like that. I will point out and say that if you want to gain more of an insight into all the stats and how I'm preparing for my events fully and how I'm breaking down my tournament rounds, I have my online academy at Ryan Harmer Golf, where you can subscribe and join. You can come along and join our community, and I'll be sharing with you a more deeper insight into how I'm preparing for my tournaments and what I'm doing sort of in the lead up, in the practice rounds, breaking down my stats from the events, and really just sharing with you that deeper insight into my life as a tour pro. So yeah, let's get on to the rounds itself. So it was last Tuesday, the 8th of April, round 1. I had a 7:50 tee time, and this was at Surrey National, as I said, which is only about 40 minutes from where I live. So it was really nice to stay at home, have my own bed, and I can kind of travel back and forth to that. So yeah, 7:50 tee time, which was obviously a pretty early start. And I got there around 6:30, but we actually had a bit of frost that morning and also a bit of fog. So our tee time was delayed by about 30 minutes. So this allowed a little bit extra time for warm up, which I kind of didn't mind, but also it was a bit like, I just want to sort of get going into the round. So yeah, had a little bit of a delay, but we got teed off at around 8:20, and I started out quite interestingly. So par 4 up the hill, sort of trees on the right, but the fairway cambers right to left, and the fairways were playing super firm and bouncy. So it was really kind of key to try and hit it in the kind of right angles to give yourself the shot into the green. I will say the greens were rolling really good, and they were sort of holding as well, so they weren't as firm as obviously the rest of the course, but it just made it really kind of key to try and hit it into certain key points. But also you didn't really have control of the bounce of the ground, and obviously where the ball would go, and it would finish in maybe some funky lies with the dry mud and everything that we've had in this dry weather. So yeah, first hole I've kind of hit it up the right behind some trees, not necessarily my ideal tee shot to start with, and I had like a little gap to kind of run it through down onto the green and give myself a shot. So I hit like a little punchy A time. It wasn't a very big gap at all. It was really like, I don't know, 4 or 5 feet wide, and it was a little bit risky to start the tournament with, but managed to pull it off, got it onto the green to about 20 feet and then hold it for birdie. So I was like, okay, good start. So that was really encouraging. And then just played really solid throughout, to be honest. It was quite a calm day, so not much wind around, and front nine I was level par through 9, 1 birdie, 1 bogey, so playing really solid. Made a couple of key up and downs when I needed to, and then sort of really started to feel my way into the round a little bit more into the back nine, and yeah, managed to make a good birdie on the par 5 14th, and then also the par 4 15th, hit it up by the green, and then hold like a 30-foot putt up there after hitting not a great chip after, a little bit of a funky lie on that one. So, and then finished with a birdie on the last, where I played the perfect hole, really good drive, hit a wedge into about 4 feet, and then made that. So yeah, it was a really nice way to finish the round, to shoot 3 under, and felt really good going into the final day. And I was 4 shots back, so yeah, in really good mix, and yeah, felt really, as I say, comfortable within my game, and did a lot of really good stuff well. So going into day 2, I had an afternoon tee time, which was good. Had a little bit more sleep than round 1, so that was useful. And I like to get to the course at around 2 hours before my tee time, to give myself a good amount of time to warm up, do some mobility, stretching, activational work on my body, get some putting, short game, everything done. So I got to the course on day 2 at around 11:30, and I was teeing off at 1:40. So yeah, had a good amount of time. And day 2 was a lot colder and more windy, so it was going to present a little bit of a different challenge to day 1, where we had sort of calmer conditions. It was a lot warmer on day 1. So day 2 really was a bit more of a grind, in that sense that it was, and they tucked the pins a little bit more. So it was really a case of being aware of the wind direction, trying to get the club distances correct, and leave yourself in the right spots. So yeah, day 2 kind of came along, and yeah, got off to a really good start again. Hit a good drive this time on the first, and almost holed my wedge shot from 90 yards. I hit it to about, literally tapping distance, to about less than a foot. So that was a really nice start. And then also on the par 3 third, it was 175 yards, wind off the right, but water kind of short. And if you've played Surrey National, that third hole is quite a demanding par 3 to start with. So yeah, it was the pin was tucked on the right, with the water on the right, wind off the right. So not the best of combinations. And I sort of was just kind of playing left of the flag, trying to hit that little hold up 7-iron there. And actually, honestly, kind of pushed it a little bit, but it went to about 2 feet. So managed to make birdie there, which was really good. So 2 under through 3, and feeling really good. And yeah, just a perfect way to start the round. So unfortunately dropped a shot on the 4th hole. It's a really kind of tricky par 4, with a fairway kind of cambering a lot right to left, and you cannot miss it left, with pretty much outbounds bushes all the way down the left side, and the ball was just literally bounding over into those bushes. I've seen numerous players sort of hit middle of the fairway and the ball just literally go into the bushes. So it was a tough tee shot on that hole, especially again with the wind off the right. So I hit a decent tee shot there, hit a 5-wood, but it just kind of caught this mound, and I was on an upslope and had like 145 to kind of a back middle pin. And again, everything was forcing this ball left. Hit an okay shot, but just kind of ran off the side of the green and made bogey there. And then just made a couple of silly mistakes towards my turn. I sort of 3-putted the par 3 7th from around 35 feet, which was a bit of a silly drop shot. And then the 8th hole, kind of my worst tee shot of the day, where I've just pulled my drive into some bushes and lost ball, so I make double there. So had to kind of reset a little bit after such a good start, and then kind of a little bit of a kind of backward step towards the turn of the round, but stayed kind of patient, stayed focused on my process, and continued to try and hit good shots. And I sort of dug in and finished the round strong to shoot level par. And it was just, as I say, it was a tricky day with the wind and trying to gauge your distance control, and where you're not always hitting the ball in the fairway, you're kind of adding in that element of uncontrollable into the greens, because you can, as I say, you can get some kind of different lies. And yeah, it just became a little bit more unpredictable in that sense. So yeah, managed to finish out level par, finished tied 10th for the tournament, picked up around £470 in prize money, which not everyone is aware of, but with the entry fee being £320 for this tier 2 event, and fuel costing me around sort of £40 there and back for 2 days, I'm only making around £100 profit on that tournament. So it just puts into perspective sort of the cost of professional golf. And at these mini tour levels, okay, I'm not saying that we should be making obviously hundreds of thousands of pounds, but you know, to finish 10th and only make a profit of £100, as I say, it just gives a little bit of perspective of how hard it is to sustain financially, you know, trying to progress up to that next level. And obviously it's going to be top heavy, I understand that, but as I said, and that's with me staying at home. If I was staying away like a lot of lads were and traveling down from up north, for example, like you finish 10th, you're not breaking even. So as I said, it's tough in that regard, but also just more motivation, I think, just to play better and try and obviously win and get up to that next level. So yeah, that's the first tournament in the books of 2025. My next event is back on the tier 1 in the next couple of weeks. I'm heading out to Morocco for the Moroccan swing out there, which I'm really excited for. I've never been to Morocco before. So I'm going to be sharing with you, obviously, how I get on there. But as I said before, earlier in the video, if you want to gain a further insight and a deeper insight into how I'm preparing, how the tournaments go, all the stats, everything that I'm doing, you can come along, join Ryan Harmer Golf, and you can choose whether you decide to get a monthly or annual membership. And I'd love to have you part of the team and the community going forward for the rest of the season. So yeah, that's my first tournament in the books, and I will be keeping you updated how I get on in Morocco.